Self-reflection is a skill. Do you have your self-reflection time? Why it is a skill? How is it useful, and how not reflecting upon whatever you've been doing actually poisons you from inside? Why you have to develop this skill, and why you should also help your child to develop this skill. All this and much more in this video. Stay tuned right till the end of the video. Hello and welcome to Beyond Parenting with Sujaya. So, what is reflection time, and what happens if you actually did not do this reflection time? I heard this quotation somewhere. Anything that is not forbidden becomes compulsory. That means you have to be focused in doing some work, and you do not put your phone away. Right? You do not put your phone away. So you have not forbidden your phone. And somehow what happens? It becomes a compulsion for you, for your hand to go there, get the phone and keep checking the notifications. So anything that is not forbidden becomes compulsory. So even if you so something that you have not forbidden, for example, so let's just take one day in your life. So yes, you've been dealing with lots of tantrums, a disturbing day, a tired day, a very something that's been through that you've gone through, which you are still carrying inside. Right? Maybe you've had some kind of negative reactions for your child, for somebody else, towards somebody else, and nothing seems to work out at that point of time. Then what happens if you, first let me tell you what happens if you do not have this reflection time, if you do not self reflect with who you are, where you are, what you are, how you are, what you've been doing, and what you are doing at that point of time. What happens if you're not doing this self reflection time is, so whatever experiences you've been through, right? So sometimes what happens, all that piles up into some kind of unresolved pain within yourself. Maybe you've had a negative experience, maybe you've had a negative reaction, maybe you've had to face a negative reaction because of something that somebody said to you that's hurting to you. Yes, life happens. But what happens if we are not self reflecting with how the day was? Something happens, you just pick up your phone, maybe you're calling a very close friend of yours, maybe your parent, maybe a very close cousin or sibling or friend or whoever it is. You feel that, okay, let me just share all this, whatever has happened with them, and this will maybe give me some relief. But in this journey of sharing whatever has happened, what are you doing? You are going into this serious trouble of the three C's: complaining, criticizing, comparing. You are either complaining the experience, or criticizing the experience, or comparing the experience with something else. You are either complaining about the people involved in the experience, criticizing the people involved in that experience, or comparing the people involved in that experience with something else. But again, life gives you certain experiences because there is something to learn from it. And when we are in this trap of the three C's, the comparing, the comparing, the criticizing, and the complaining, we will always be in that cocoon, getting trapped with those three C's. All that we see getting outside the well is another comparison, and another criticism, another complaining, another complaint. But you cannot evolve. You cannot learn something new. You cannot grow yourself. You cannot evolve yourself if you do not break this cocoon filled with complaining, criticism, and comparing. Now, that is what happens. Anything that is not forbidden becomes compulsory. That means even though you are not doing it intentionally, you are somehow, your hand is going towards the phone, you're picking that phone call, or maybe that person itself, whoever it is, called you, and you just went into that mode of venting everything out, going into the zone of three C's: comparing, criticizing, and complaining. So if you are conscious, if you are aware of that, then you wouldn't put yourself into this cocoon of three C's. And what happens? Now, let's talk about experiences. Why do we have to compare, criticize, and complain these whatever experiences that life is giving us? So basically, just imagine a ladder. You have to keep climbing up a step of the ladder with every experience that you are having. In other words, that life is giving to you. Life is happening for you. It's not against you. Life is happening for you, right? So life is giving you certain experiences for you to learn something from that experience. If you have not done that learning, and you are again putting yourself into that cocoon, you will have to face that experience again the next day or again the next moment. The next step is again that experience. So whatever you are doing, whatever experiences you are having that life is giving you, you are kind of going in a downward spiral of three C's: comparing, criticizing, and complaining. But if you are aware, if you are conscious, and if you are reflecting on how you were at that point of time, why you had to react that way, maybe you just yelled at your child, so why did you have to react that way? And maybe you also had your own needs, your own feelings, your own emotions. So what actually happened? You're doing all of these. When you're doing all of these, you are not going through the downward spiral, but you are climbing up the next step, the next step, and the next step. And once you climb up the next step, that's not the end. Life gives you another experience, because it is a continuously work in progress project. You have to keep evolving, keep evolving, keep evolving until one fine day maybe you are just merging with the universal energy. So all the spirituality kept aside, but actually speaking, this is this is a spiritual life that you are living. So you have to keep evolving, you have to keep growing, and that is how you are climbing up these steps in your life. And if you're not doing that, life is giving you a very similar experience again. That's what happens if you, this is how self-reflection helps you. Now let's talk about the skills of self-reflection. So do you actually require any skills to reflect upon yourself? And why is it important for you to help your child to develop these skills? So yes, you need certain skills, because reflection takes a lot of courage to face yourself, to face your pain, to face the negative reaction that you had for your child, to face your fears. It requires certain courage, and that's a skill. Otherwise, what happens? You just keep putting it aside. I just don't want to think about that experience. I just don't want to think about that moment when I actually yelled at my child. I just want to keep it far from me. I don't want to owe that. Yes, you do not want to owe that, but let's just take some time to resolve that. Anything that's not resolved, unresolved pain, is something that you are carrying, and it causes lots of destruction inside of you. Yes. So what happens? Number one skill that you have to have is the courage to face yourself, to face your face that you had at that point of time, to face your negative reaction that you had at that point of time when you yelled, or to face your, maybe you felt ashamed when somebody else maybe was having a negative reaction at you. You felt ashamed. To face that self of yours, you have to have courage. And then yes, you also have to have the skill of acceptance. You have to accept yourself however you were at that point of time. If you are not accepting yourself, if you are judging yourself for whatever it is that you have done, again it takes you towards the downward spiral. You are criticizing your own self, you are complaining your own self, and it takes you towards the downward spiral. Never do that. Yes. So self-reflection time is a time for you to accept yourself, to accept all the experiences that life is actually giving you, because life is also giving you, because there is a reason why everything happens to you. I think I've told this nth number of times, but all through my videos, but there is a reason why anything and everything, any experience happens to you. So it is for you to look at that experience through a clear lens, through a clear glass, without any blurs, or without any blobs of judgments, of fears, and all of that stuff. Just look through a clear glass, and you will understand why something has happened and what is there in that for you to take off, for you to take away, right? So yes, these are certain skills which you have to have, and it also helps the child to develop these skills, because the child also has to face their own fears. The child has to accept their own self. Yes, I shouted at my friend, but it doesn't mean that I don't love myself. It's something that your child has to understand. Otherwise, self-love becomes conditional. I just hated myself when I did that. That lowers the self-esteem. That kills a person from inside. So it is not good if you're going that way. Or again, nothing about good or bad, but it's something that's not. It's something that is damaging you from inside. So you would not want to go that way, and you also would not wish your child to go that way. right? So these are certain skills which you have to develop to look through the clear glass and look at all these experiences. So that's how you look at all the maybe the negative experience which you have had in your day. So when you are doing it, you're also doing it along with your child, maybe as a bedtime routine that actually helps your child to develop better understanding of what's happening in his life. And again, look at experiences without any judgments. Yes. So what else do you do? So you just, so reflection is nothing but you are just skimming through whatever has happened, skimming, just observing from a third eye view or a third person's view, right? You're just imagining that, okay, seeing that as a movie. Your child doing this, there's a scene that's happening in a movie, your child is doing something and you have reacted in a certain way, or maybe some other person was maybe yelling at you, quite natural, I mean quite practical. All these are real life challenges. So yes, you also had to face some kind of negative reaction because of somebody else. Just look at it as a movie, that's all. And when you look at it as a movie, there is a lot of observation that you will actually do, not just about yourself, but about the other people, about that experience that has happened. Maybe the other person was also carrying some pain. And that is the reason that made them to react in a certain way. And how much do you want to depend? How much do you want your emotions to depend on what they say? Everything will start to surface up. Right? Do you actually want your emotions to depend on what that person is telling you? Yes. Or if when you have been through a negative parenting reaction, as a parent you have a negative reaction and you are going through a reflection time. So is this something that I want to do? How does this help? And is this something I want to do maybe tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow? Is this how I envision the relationship between me and my child after 5 years, after 10 years? How would I see this? What is my vision? Yes, you should always have a long-term vision. Yes, at that point of time, you got it. You got an immediate positive outcome. Maybe you yelled, your child did that homework, your child moved to the meal table, your child did whatever you asked him or her to do. There was an immediate positive outcome. But how does it affect in the long term? Yes, what is the long-term outcome of it? Is it draining the child? Is it affecting the child's subconscious? Yes. Is it affecting the relation between you and your child? What's happening? That's all. Do not judge yourself. Do not judge your child. Do not judge the experience, because the experience was given by life itself. Yes. So do not judge anything about this. Just go through the experience just as how you look at a movie. Just as you're looking at a scene of the movie. Go through it. Accept yourself for whatever you have done, for however you have been, because you also had some kind of genuine feelings at that point of time. Maybe you were not just aware. A little bit of more awareness helps maybe. So all this is a concluding section of your reflection time, where you will actually understand, you will actually not understand, you will understand more about yourself, and you will also maybe have a clear picture of, do I want to be this way even tomorrow? Yes or no? If it is no, then how else can I respond? What else helps me? Maybe setting a new routine helps me. Maybe setting a new schedule helps me. What else helps me is something that you can ask yourself. Yes, the more and more you are asking yourself, your subconscious is also assuring you that, yes, I am here listening to you. Whatever command you give me, I am here to execute it. Otherwise, what happens? Your pain body just pulls you towards the downward spiral, the vicious circle of 3 C's: criticizing, complaining, and comparing about whatever and anything and everything that has happened during the day. Yes, and not just about that, self-reflection actually helps enormously for you to grow, for you to evolve as a person, for you to actually make that connection with all the experiences that are happening. You will actually have a deeper connect with all the people around you, right? Even with your own self, you're getting closer to your own self. So how are you different from yourself? Your own self meaning you're getting closer to your spiritual self, and you actually know what it is that you want to do, and you will be better. You will have that clarity of how you would want to react the next day. And when you're getting closer to your spiritual self, what happens? The biggest thing that happens is you will listen to your intuition. So the next day something happens, You are no more reacting based on your pain body, but you are listening to your intuition and you are being guided by your intuition, and you have the the exact solution that is apt right at that scenario, right at that situation for you and for your child. So that's how self reflection time helps you. Make sure you take some amount of time, just 5 minutes also is enough for you to go through the day's experiences and learn whatever it is there is to learn. And most importantly, I actually slipped out of mine. Most importantly, life teaches you through experiences. Yes, and for you to be a lifelong learner is very important. You have to keep learning from all the experiences that you are being through in your life. So that sharpens you, and that makes you a better person every day. So make sure you do the self-reflection time and also do this along with your child, and let me know in the comment section below, how did this help you? How did this video help you? Cheers, happy parenting, bye-bye.